My friends, what if Jesus asked us the same question? Do you want to be healed? Do you want to be healed? And some of us might respond with a question. What do you mean? Do you want to be healed? What do you mean? Well, off financially? Well, as in feeling well, no fear, no fever, no cold, no headaches, no suffering? How many of us would challenge the questioner? Are you asking if I want to be well spiritually, or do you want me to be closer to God? Let us understand this with the help of today's reading. The first reading was taken from the book Ezekiel. And in the first reading, we see the water flowing from the temple. Water flowing from the temple. It is God's water. It's a holy water. Abundance, full of God's grace. And the water returns in the gospel in an image of a pool. Not a swimming pool, but a small pool. And according to the tradition, time to time, the angels is to come down, stir the water, and then the blind, the lame, the sick is to jump in, and then they would be healed. And in the gospel, we saw there's a pool, and people are surrounded to be healed. And there is a man who is ill for 38 years. 38 years. And Jesus sees that man, and he asks him, do you want to be healed? Just a simple question. Do you want to be healed? And the man doesn't say yes. But the man says, Sir, I have no one to put me into that pool. I tried myself to go, but the moment I go, someone else comes in. In other words, this man is a defeated man. This man has no hope. He has no hope. This man is lazy. And this laziness makes him sad. Another person would have found ways, even though there are challenges, another person would have found ways to get into the pool. But this man, no. And so Jesus sees this man, shows mercy, and decides to put the end to his suffering and tells him, rise, take up your mat and walk. He heals him. Rise, take up your mat and walk. And today Jesus is showing us mercy. Despite of our sinful nature, despite of our sinfulness, Jesus is showing us mercy. He's telling us, each and every one, rise from your sinfulness and walk the new path. My friends, as we continue in the second half of our lengthened journey, Jesus is telling us to rise from your sinful habits, sinful patterns, and walk the path of righteousness, and walk the path of mercy and compassion. And perhaps this poem might help us today to take a new path, to seek a new direction. And this poem, the autobiography of 5 short chapters, might help us to take a new path. It is a poem by poet Portia Nelson, who tells us how we need to take radical changes in our life. And she captures it so beautifully in these 5 short chapters. In the first chapter, she says, I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. that there is a hole on the sidewalk, but I fall. It takes forever for me to find a way out. The chapter 2, I walk down the same street. The next day, I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I fall in again. I can't believe I am in the same place. But it isn't my fault that I am in that hole. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3, I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. Now I see there is a hole there. But I still fall in. It's a habit. It's a pattern. I fall again in that same hole. But my eyes are open. I know where I am. It's my fault. And I get out immediately. Chapter 4, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. And this time, I walk around it. And chapter 5, I walk down the different street. Amen.